Welcome back. My name is Derek, author and webmaster of GematriaDatabase.com. Before I begin, if you're not familiar with Gematria, it would greatly benefit you to peek in the description first and see my tutorials. There's a 20-minute and an hour-plus version. That should teach you all you need to know about what you're going to see. In essence, Gematria is the language of the secret societies that are running this country behind the veil, and this knowledge is very new in the public's eyes. What's so beautiful about this work is that it's impossible to debunk anything I present. Now, the last time I uploaded a video exposing a false flag, which was for the mid-August Barcelona van attack claimed by ISIS, YouTube removed my video, flagging it for inappropriate content, citing harassment and bullying. For now, the video is up on vid.me, and you can find it too, linked below. The idea that the content is inappropriate or that I even harassed anyone is completely laughable. All I do is run simple mathematical equations, measure the number of days between events, and show unique astrological alignments. Never did I call it a hoax, never did I threaten anyone, never did I call for any violence. All just self-verifiable information. Before the video was taken down, I got dozens of personally degrading comments from an army of YouTube trolls, none of whom addressed any of the information in the video, only me as a person. This platform is their territory, you see, where free speech is a privilege, not a right here on YouTube. Zachary K. Hubbard, who just had his 8th YouTube channel deleted after the Las Vegas false flag, is the one who brought this into the light, and then I came along and blew the game wide open by creating the Gematrinator calculator, the first multi-layer gematria calculator to ever hit the web, at least as far as I know. My site has no banners, no ads, here for the sole purpose giving you the ability to see for yourself the incessant use of occultic numerology in the mainstream news. What we are really seeing in this country is not a surge of terrorism, not a rise of mental illness, but the overreaching hand of the Judeo-Masonic New World Order. Through secret societies, of which Freemasonry is the most voluminous, they've seized control of our government and the high ranks of our local police departments. We are a lot further along in their game than most people realize, and it's high time people begin speaking. Never has the evidence been stronger. Numerology is more than a religion to these groups. It is a centerpiece of the Kabbalah, and one must understand that not practicing numerology is blasphemous to them. Kabbalah is centered around the belief that God created the world when he merged the letter and the number, and the numbers associated with any word must be observed. The great secret knowledge being hidden from us is that we are in an organic matrix, so to speak, one that operates by the numbers, in which all of us are, to some extent, coded by the numbers. But they'd rather have you believing we live in a random universe, where each of us is just an accident. But nothing could be further from the truth. This festival was on Route 91. It's important to understand the significance of the calendar to the occult. October 1st is the date that leaves 91 days left in the year. 91, a significant number as it's the 13th triangular number, meaning when you add every number 1 through 13, it sums to 91. The word ritual has a square gematria of 1391. Rituals and symbolism are the core practices of Freemasonry. Their logo has the capital G between the square and the compass. Capital G has gematria of 13, and they call themselves Masons. Of course, M is the 13th letter in the alphabet. Las Vegas was right for this ritual. When using the reverse alphabetic order, Z as 1 and A as 26, Las Vegas equals 130. In numerology, zeros are ignored as they do not add to a number's numerology, so this represents another 13. When you write out 13, it sums to 99. This is a number very special to this nation. The United States of America has reduction gematria of 99. And remember, we just had our first coast-to-coast solar eclipse in 99 years. This ritual occurred a day after the end of Yom Kippur with a shooter out of Mandalay Bay, both of those with gematria of 99. Stephen Paddock, born April 9th, 1953. April 9th is the 99th day of the year. Hugh Hefner, who just died at the age of 91 on the Jesuit order's birthday, his birthday also April 9th, the 99th day of the year. Why is 13 so significant? Well, 13 is the 6th prime number. The occult certainly appears to be comprised of Saturn worshippers, and Saturn is the 6th planet from the Sun. The 13th prime number is 41, matching the gematria of Las Vegas, with the S exception. And this shooting was 41 days after the solar eclipse. If you're wondering what Saturn has to do with the moon and the eclipse, all the information you need to understand why Saturn is worshipped is in my introductory video below. As I've been exposing on my channel for months, Kabbalists are obsessed with solar eclipses, and most of their recent events have been tributes to it. Now, the 41st prime number is 179. The full name of the shooter is Stephen Craig Paddock, which, using the basic alphabetic order, sums to 179. See how this works? We are just getting started. The letter G is the 7th letter of the alphabet, and repeated 7s are often the sign of Masonic activity. Masons love geomancy, and there's no clearer evidence of this than when we measure from the front door of the Masonic Temple on Charleston Boulevard in Las Vegas to the shooter's window at Mandalay Bay Casino. To my most accurate measurement, this is exactly 7,777 meters. Remember, this satellite image down here is on an angle, and of course the window is not west of the base of the tower. Why are these 7s so special? First, let's look at the Jewish gematria of Saturn, which is 511. When converted to the base 8 numbering system, 511 becomes 777. This is the first number, when written out, that sums to 314, the first 3 digits of pi. The smallest equation you can use to get a close approximation of pi is 22 divided by 7. As you can see, this sums to 3.14. And when you write this equation out, it sums to 314 in English ordinal. The number 227, when converted to octal, is 343. Whose prime factors are 7 times 7 times 7. And here's an overhead shot of that measurement. Now, the address of that temple is 632 East Charleston. Ancient accepted Scottish rite of Freemasonry equals 632 with the reverse order. And the Masons are pushing a Jewish conspiracy. Jewish sums to 632 in the extended method, which most closely mirrors the main Hebrew and Greek Gematria ciphers. Furthermore, when you write out the address, it equals 205 in reverse reduction. This matches the gematria of Israel in Jewish gematria, just like all-seeing eye, 205 in the reverse order. So far, Trump is treating this shooting like his 9/11, visiting Vegas, mourning with the families of the victims. But just like Bush and Cheney in the September 11th attacks, Trump and his associates knew damn well this event would be taking place, and his agenda will be easier to push, as long as people don't wake up. But this event was coded significantly around Trump's presidency, which, by the way, began when he was 70 years, 7 months, and 7 days old, born during a lunar eclipse, taking the Oval Office just before the great solar eclipse. But measuring from the inauguration, the Vegas shooting took place 254 days into Trump's presidency. This is a number I educate about in my tutorial. Saturn, the keeper of time, using the alphabetic order, equals 254. Just the word time alone, using the English extended method, equals 254. Time is a measurement of the speed of light, which has 2 silent letters, but it sums to 254 using the same method as well. The date, September 11th, on the Julian and Gregorian calendars, is the 254th day of the year. And if you measure from the smack dab middle of Trump International Tower to the shooter's window at Mandalay Bay, it's exactly 2.54 miles. But there's more. The occult, to this day, worships ancient deities, and this event appears to be a tribute to the goddess of trust and good faith in Roman paganism. The psychopaths planning these terrorist events might really believe they're doing good for the people of the world. Fides had a temple built in the year 254 BC, a number all the websites I can find did confirm. And remember this really odd comment from the shooter's brother talking about how it felt like an asteroid fell out of the sky? Well, this is a reference to the asteroid named Fides, 37 Fides to be exact, which on the date of the shooting was in conjunction with the planet Saturn and had an ecliptic longitude of 254 degrees. This asteroid is not on Stellarium, but if you use the stars Scorpio 25 and Ophiuchus 24 as your references, you will find that this was indeed the case. Through the language of gematria, we can understand things like why the shooter was on the 32nd floor of the building. In reduction gematria, 32nd floor equals 91. Remember the Route 91 Harvest Festival, 91 days from the end of the year. In reverse reduction, 32nd floor equals 89, matching the reduction value of the name of the shooter, Stephen Craig Paddock. Using the alphabetic order, 32nd floor equals 226. That's the perfect number for a sacrifice in paradise, which equals 226 in prime numbers. August 21st, the date of the solar eclipse, which this was a sacrifice for, was the 233rd day of the year. Using the reverse alphabetic order, 32nd floor equals 233. In satanic gematria, this equals 821. The date of the solar eclipse was 8/21. Most of the world writes this date 21/8. Using English Kabbalah, 32nd floor equals 218. Also in the prime number cipher, 32nd floor equals 727. This matches the reverse satanic gematria of the name of the shooter without the middle name, Stephen Paddock. Using the reverse alphabetic order, Saturn sums to 69. Another special number. The 69th prime number is 347, again relating Saturn to 13, which has gematria in Jewish of 347. In Hebrew, where the practice of gematria originates, their word for sacrifice equals 347. The name of the shooter, Stephen Paddock, in the alphabetic order equals 141. All numbers are related to their prime factors, and this number factors down to 3 times 47. Now in the English language, the word sacrifice equals 73. And when we add the word ritual in front of sacrifice, it has reduction gematria of 73. The planet Saturn in the English Kabbalah, which uses every 11th letter, also equals 73. This shooting actually occurred within the limits of an unincorporated town called Paradise, which equals 73. And this was a country music festival. Country in the reverse order is 73. The festival was held in a location called the Las Vegas Village, which has single reduction gematria of 73. But how about this? Paradise, Nevada, using the Jewish cipher, equals 1001. And the date of the shooting was 1001. Paradise, Nevada, in English extended, equals 741. The planet Saturn in that same cipher equals 741. Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino, Las Vegas, is where the shooter fired from. This, in reverse ordinal, sums to 558. Saturn in Sumerian gematria, which is the alphabetic order times 6, equals 558. The word Masonic, also, using triangular numbers, equals 558. But Harvest has a lot of geometric matches with the planet Saturn, with the numbers 42 and 69 here. But what's most significant is their English ordinal gematrias of 93. 93 is an extremely significant number to the occult. Now look carefully at the clock in the bottom right corner of the screen as the airplane races towards the building. You see that? Boom, 9:03. The explosion occurs at exactly 9:03 on the clock. George Bush from the elementary school, look at this, 9:29, 9:29 on that clock. He's looking to the right, see? Boom, 9:30, and he begins speaking. This number means everything. The religion Thelema, in fact, worships the number 93. They don't even say hi or bye. They just say 93. If we measure back 93 weeks from the date of the Las Vegas Strip shooting, we arrive at December 20th, 2015. On this date, there was a vehicular homicide on the Las Vegas Strip, in which a 24-year-old ran into several pedestrians, killing one. This date had numerology of 13. And look at when they updated this article. 2054 Eastern Time. Also, the word murder using prime numbers equals 254. Lakeisha Holloway, the suspect in this case, equals 69 reduction. This matches the value of Saturn 69 in the reverse order. And as we go along, we're going to talk about how this whole thing plays into a revelation riddle. Lakeisha, gematria of 174, like number of the beast, and Holloway in Sumerian gematria equals 666. The singer Ariana Grande has ordinal gematria of 93. You may recall there was a bombing at her concert back in May in England. Ariana Grande is part of the Kabbalist Zionist agenda, as shown partially by this article here, saying where she left the Catholic Church because they rejected her gay brother. This bombing took place 91 days before the solar eclipse. Notice how the bombing occurred at 22:31. Well, it just so happens that May 22nd leaves 223 days left on the calendar. The Saros cycle, which allows us to predict the next solar eclipse, is 223 synodic months. The Masons love that moon. Masonic equals 223 in Jewish gematria. They are emulating the role in the Bible of the synagogue of Satan, ruling the world in end times. They have gematria of 223 English ordinal. Now, even though this building hasn't been called the Manchester Evening News Building since 2011, they still use this picture in Wikipedia for the attack. And what do you know? Manchester Evening News equals 2203, Jewish gematria. And if we measure from the date of the opening of Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino, March 2nd, 1999, we'll find that as the shooter died 2 minutes before midnight, Mandalay Bay was just turning exactly 223 months old. 223 is the 48th prime number. The date of the shooting had full numerology, 10 plus 1 plus 20 plus 17, of 48. Including the end date, this attack occurred 133 days before the Vegas shooting, also a span of 4 months, 10 days. 133 continues to pop up in these durations between significant events. In the Kabbalah, the word sacrifice equals 133, and ritual in Jewish gematria is 410. Remember, 41, the 13th prime number. Las Vegas, Nevada has ordinal gematria of 133, and Nevada in Jewish gematria equals 751, which is the 133rd prime number. But the most famous attack at a musical venue might be the Bataclan shooting in Paris that occurred on November 13th, 2015. And if we measure from the date of that shooting to the Las Vegas Strip shooting, we find it's 322 days after the 1-year anniversary. In English ordinal, military-industrial complex equals 322, and the deep state is truly running these false flags. Remember on the date 3/22/2016, we had the Melbeek train station bombing in Brussels, and then a year later to the day, there was a Westminster Bridge attack where someone ran down some pedestrians and stabbed a couple people. And it just so happens those attacks were almost exactly 322 kilometers apart. And this is a trend we continue to see. In my video that got taken down about the Barcelona van attack, I mentioned how if you measure to the Nice attack in France, which killed 87 people on Bastille Day, it was a span of 13 months and 3 days. This also equates to 399 days. And the site of the attack, Barcelona, Spain, equals 399. The word murder has Jewish gematria of 399, and this took place on the day where there was a rare pass through Orion of the moon. Orion moon equals 399 in both of those prime number and Jewish ciphers. The Barcelona event was coded with a lot of the same numbers. Remember, exactly 13 people were killed and 130 others were injured in the van attack. Remember, Barcelona, Spain equals 130, just like Las Vegas. Barcelona van attack has reverse gematria of 322. Using the extended method, it sums to 1118, and the date 1118 is the 322nd day of the year. And how about this? Measuring to the date of the Las Vegas Strip shooting, it's a span of 1 month and 15 days. Nevada, using the reverse order, equals 115, and Las Vegas, Nevada, using extended, is 1105. Paradise, Nevada, as well as Las Vegas, sits on the 115th meridian west. 115, a very significant number to killing rituals. Killing has double gematria in the reverse and Jewish orders of 115. Assassin and Masonic, also reverse orders, 115 as well. You may recall Donald Trump survived an assassination attempt in the city of Las Vegas back in June of 2016. The name of that shooter was Michael Steven Sanford, which sums to 91. Remember, it was the Route 91 festival, 91 days from the end of the year. But if we measure from this assassination attempt to the Las Vegas shooting, it's 470 days. Trump in Jewish gematria equals 470. Trump also had a second assassination scare in the state of Nevada, this time in Reno, back on the 5th of November in 2016, right before the election. This occurred almost exactly 47 weeks before the shooting. Trump equals 47 in the reverse order. This is the gematria of time in the alphabetic order. Remember the Freemason compass set to 47 degrees between the tropics. This is also 330 days. Of course, America, using triangular numbers, equals 330. Earlier, I mentioned the number 174 and how this event is part of an ongoing tribute to the book of Revelation. New World Order sums to 174, like number of the beast, but what's really interesting is how Revelation sums to 1010 in Jewish gematria, and the 174th verse of Revelation is 1010. The site where Mandalay Bay sits, by the way, was first purchased in the 90s by Circus, which also equals 1010. America is the land for playing out this prophecy, and America summing to 49 reverse reduction and 149 extended, just like Revelation in reduction and reverse. But what's especially interesting here is that Revelation 1010 has extended gematria of 10,807. 187 is a significant number to the Torah, which is the first 5 books and basis of the biblical texts. It has 187 chapters. Also see how Tiberian Hebrew, the language this was originally written in, and Torah have matching 239 gematria. And in ordinal, Tiberian Hebrew equals 139, just like Freemasonry. The name for God in the Torah, Elohim, equals 187 in Hebrew gematria. Ancient accepted Scottish rite of Freemasonry is 187 reduced. Harvest Festival, 187 ordinal. And time is 187 in Satanic gematria, which is significant because in Hebrew sophits, where final form letters are taken into account, Elohim and time both sum to the same number, 747. Saturn, of course, represented by Elohim, the keeper of time. 187 is a number this nation is built around. Our first president, George Washington, is 187, and the nation's capital equals 187 in reverse. Shortly, we'll look at how the governor and sheriff, Brian Sandoval and Joe Lombardo, who both have 187 gematria, factor into this, as well as the Society of Jesus, who just celebrated their birthday. Then we'll look at Tom Petty, who died in Santa Monica in relation to his album Full Moon Fever. And on the date of the shooting, Mandalay Bay Casino was just turning 18 years and 7 months old. Now, when decoding false flags, you always want to look for the number 33. Police, order, federal, secrecy, masonry, false flag, all of these have gematria of 33. And here we were on the first day of October, the only month to sum to 33. This was a shooting at a concert, which is 33, and the man on stage was named Jason Aldean, 33 full reduction. The first name of the shooter, spelled with the PH instead of the V, equals 33. Even Las Vegas in septenary has 33 gematria. When we write out the number 33, it equals 156 using the alphabetical order. Just like false flag, 156 Jewish gematria. And the biggest false flag ever on American soil took place on the date 9/11, which is the 156th prime number. Paradise, Nevada in the Kabbalah equals 156. Route 91 using square numbers when the number 91 is added equals 1506. The name of the shooter, Stephen Paddock, 1056 trigonal. Remember, this occurred right after the end of Yom Kippur, 156 Kabbalah. We'll also look at how the football game that took place that night, Seahawks-Colts, which equals 156, how that game factors in as well. Remember, the time of that game, Seahawks-Colts, was 3:14, the numbers of pi. When you write out the number 33, it equals 66, 60 reduction, and then 141 reverse. Stephen Paddock, the shooter, 66, 60 reduction, and 141 alphabetic order. The 33rd prime number is 137, and the shooter's full name, Stephen Craig Paddock, equals 1307, triangular numbers. Using Francis Bacon gematria, where we take capital letters into account and add 26 for each, Stephen Paddock equals 193. This is the 44th prime number, a number I always talk about in my Murder by Numbers videos. Stephen Paddock in Jewish gematria equals 440. Kill equals 44 in the English alphabet, and in the reverse order it sums to 64. The shooter was 64 years old, and in this Seahawks-Colts game we had a total sum of 64 points. The inverse of 64 is 46. That's how many points the Seahawks had. The word sacrifice has reduction gematria of 46. In Hebrew, the word for kill equals 46. After this game finished, there was a lot of talk about how good the Seahawks defense was in the second half. They only gave up 32 yards. This is the fewest number of yards they've given up since week 14 of 1997. Measuring to the date of that game against the Falcons, it comes out to 1,035 weeks. And what do you know? The shooter was on the 32nd floor in room 135. He ended up killing 59 people, or at least 59 people are now being reported as dead, including the perpetrator. They just changed this number before I filmed this video. The number 59, when written out, has extended gematria of 1,035. The Colts had 237 yards in this game. The name of the shooter in reverse ordinal, 237. As far as how many yards the Seahawks had, we'll look at that in a minute. Stephen Paddock in Satanic Gematria equals 631, the 115th prime. Remember this number in relation to Nevada and Las Vegas, Nevada. The word conspiracy, also 1105 trigonal. The Society of Jesus, whose 477th birthday was just celebrated, sums to 115. Unsurprisingly, the score of this game at halftime was 10-15. The shooter's initials, SCP, English Ordinal 38, and all three of his individual names have a gematria of 38 somehow. This is a number they always code into death rituals. Death, murder, killing, RIP, all of these summing to 38. As does Kabbalah, English Ordinal. Kabbalah, this is a Jewish practice. Jewish equals 38, single reduction. Jew, 38, English Ordinal. Stephen Craig Paddock in reverse Satanic has an upside down 666 in his name. But how about his full name in the Kabbalah of 251, and in Francis Bacon, it's 257. 251, like the reverse gematria of ritual sacrifice, and 257, like the reverse value of blood sacrifice. This occurred in the state of Nevada, which has Satanic gematria of 257. And look at the statistics of Paradise, Nevada. Elevation, 2,057 feet. Really? This has got to be an arbitrary number. Even look at their population. 223,000 people. This casino just turned 223 months old. But finally, look at this population density. 4,777 square miles. Well, what do you know? The Seahawks, in their game against the Colts, won with a total offense of 477 yards. Stephen Paddock, in the Kabbalah, sums to 191, just like the Society of Jesus in English Ordinal. The Society of Jesus just turned 477 years old after being established in the date 1540. Using prime numbers, ritual sacrifice equals 477. And if you measure from the previous worst mass shooting of all time in U.S. history, which was at the Pulse nightclub in Orlando back in 2016, you'll find it's a span of exactly 477 days. The address of Mandalay Bay Casino, if you write this out, 3950 South Las Vegas Boulevard, also sums to 477. As far as being established in the year 1540, this is like 154, like the value of ritual sacrifice. This event took place in the Las Vegas Village, which is also 154, English Ordinal. The word sacrifice equals 927, square numbers. The Society of Jesus' birthday, 9/27. Most of the world writes that date 27/9. Saturn equals 279 in reverse Satanic. The Society of Jesus was founded by Ignatius of Loyola. In the English Ordinal, that has a value of 201, just like Jason Aldean, who was on stage when the shooting began, 201. Remember, Saturn worship and worshiping Saturn, both values of 201. That's what the Society of Jesus is really a cover for. Jason Aldean's last album was called They Don't Know, which equals 174. What is it that they don't know, Jason? In English Ordinal, if you write out what we see on his album, Jason Aldean, They Don't Know, it sums to 270. The Society of Jesus' motto, For the Greater Glory of God, equals 270. Their birthday, September 27th, comes on the 270th day of the year. Society of Jesus has trigonal gematria of 1733, the 270th prime number. This album dropped on a date with 27 numerology. In the reverse order, Jason Aldean, They Don't Know, equals 351. For the Greater Glory of God equals 351 in the reverse order. And the Latin name of this order, Societas Jesu, equals 2371 square numbers. That's the 351st prime number. As far as this album dropping on September 9th, 2016, that date is written 9-9, just like Yom Kippur. But this date had 54 numerology, matching the birth numerology of Jason Aldean. This is a very significant number. Earth is closest to Saturn every 54 weeks. And let's look at these two key players of this event. Sheriff of Clark County Joe Lombardo and Brian Sandoval, both of these men are 54 years old. Paddock equals 54 in the English alphabet. Stephen Craig Paddock in Jewish gematria sums to 540. They say 59 are dead. 59 equals 54 in reduction, just like the value of Vegas, 54 alphabetic order. The 54th prime number is 251, and measuring from Joe Lombardo's date of birth, November 8th, 1962, it turns out he was exactly 20,051 days old. Remember the number 270, like for the Greater Glory of God? Well, if you measure between these two men's birthdays, you'll find it's 270 days between them. Society of Jesus, using the reverse order, equals 187. Brian Edward Sandoval and Joe Lombardo in the reverse order, both equal 187, like ancient accepted Scottish rite of Freemasonry. Now we see his age. Remember, 251, the gematria of ritual, sacrifice, and Las Vegas Village in the reverse order. Mason has extended gematria of 251, again like the name of the shooter in the English Kabbalah. Measuring from the date that he took office on January 5th, 2015, we find this is 143 weeks. Scottish rite of Freemasonry, reverse reduction, equals 143. He's the sheriff of Clark County, which is 143, overseeing the shooting in Paradise, which has a reverse value of 143. This span of dates also equates to exactly 1,001 days. Paradise, Nevada equals 1001, and again, the shooting was on the date, 1001. This date can also be written 1/10. His name, Joe Lombardo, English ordinal, 110. His full name, in reverse reduction, all exceptions, has that 174. But in reduction, Joe Lombardo equals 47, the number of government and authority. President, White House, all summing to 47. Here in America, we only get two parties. This is 47 reduced. You get to choose from either the Republican or the Democrat. Both of that equals 47. And they take office in D.C., which has reverse value of 47. His full name, Joseph Michael Lombardo, in reduction sums to 96, just like Freemason in the alphabetic order. He was born on the date 11/8, Joe Lombardo, using the Jewish order, equals 118. This is a number also very significant to the occult, death and homicide, summing to 118. Joe Lombardo in prime numbers equals 332. This always pops up around these rituals. Blood sacrifice, Jewish gematria of 332. Next, let's look at the governor, Brian Edward Sandoval, 119, reverse reduction. He too has matching gematria with Freemason, 51 reduction, 84, reverse reduction, all exceptions. He was born on the date written 5/8, most of the world. Freemasonry equals 58, and the shooting occurred 58 days after his birthday. Notice how he's from Redding, which has gematria of 149, just like Redding, California in the alphabetic order. This was the number that is coded into Revelation and America. And if you measure from the date he took office on January 3rd, 2011, you find it's 351 weeks. Blood sacrifice, 351 prime numbers. This, of course, in the gematria of the Society of Jesus' phrase, for the greater glory of God, in the reverse order. Next, let's look at the mayor of Las Vegas, Carolyn Goodman. There's 133 days between her birthday and the governor's birthday. Government equals 133. There's 137 days between her birthday and the sheriff's. That's the 33rd prime number. Authority equals 137 in the alphabetic order. She has a very special birth date of March 25th, written 3/25. Scottish rite of Freemasonry equals 325, just like Nevada in reverse satanic. And from the date she took office, July 6th, 2011, we find that it's 325 weeks. And on the date 325, or 3/25, which was her birthday this year, there was a shooting on the Las Vegas Strip. Notice how this took place next to Bellagio Drive. Bellagio equals 144, just like the name of the shooter in that incident, Rolando Cardenas. The woman who ran the car over people on the Strip, her name was Lakeisha, which is 144. This is a number they always stamp on the names of killers. Killer is 144, just like time. Yom Kippur, which this shooting was also a tribute to, 144 English ordinal, and Nevada in prime numbers, 144 as well. This took place 149 days before the solar eclipse, remember Revelation 149, and it was a span of 191 days before the big shooting at the festival. Society of Jesus equals 191. Next, let's look at Jason Aldean, the man who was on stage when the shooting began. His birthday, February 28th, written 2/28. This is like the gematria of United States of America, but it's a number I always talk about in Murder by Numbers. Death equals 228 in Sumerian. And the shooting was reported to have started at exactly 22:08 or 10:08 p.m. February 28th is the 59th day of the year. Jason equals 59 English ordinal. This is the value of kill in Jewish gematria. And they're telling us that 59 people were killed in this attack. The song he was singing at the time the shooting began is called When She Says Baby. In reduction, this sums to 59, a number very significant to Freemasonry, which in the English alphabet and in Hebrew sums to 59 in reduction. Las Vegas, also with the S and V exceptions, equaling 59. 5 and 9 are the two numbers that, when written out, sum to 42, just like Freemason in reduction. Masonry has single reduction value of 42. The letter G in Satanic equals 42. Jason Aldean is tied up with Broken Bow Records. This is 42 reduction and 420 Satanic. Also, English ordinal, Broken Bow 105, just like Masonry in the same cipher. In the music video for When She Says Baby, what do you know? There's this moment when he's driving down the Las Vegas Strip, driving south, stopping just before the area where the festival was. And the words, "Just lay down by my side," show up on the screen, and think about all the people who were laying down by each other's side during the gunfire after it erupted. Predictive programming from the Jesuit New World Order. By the way, Jason Aldean, When She Says Baby, alphabetic order 272. Death has double gematria of 272, using triangular numbers and reverse satanic. Throughout the years, the Illuminati card game seems to have a certain ability to give predictive programming for futuristic terrorist events. The most striking example out of all the predictive programming from the World Trade Center through the 70s, 80s, and 90s is this card from the Illuminati card game, where there's an explosion at pretty much the exact spot the so-called plane struck the South Tower. We also had this card called Al-Amarha, and in the background we see a structure that looks very similar to the Century 16 movie theater, where the Aurora Batman shooting took place. And the time on this guy's watch reads 12:05. That was the time the movie started. Well, in that card game, there's also this card of Las Vegas. And notice how there's this Jack and Ace right there. Jason Aldean has a tattoo on his arm very similar to this. Also notice this thing that looks like a solar eclipse above that. And the shooting that took place at his concert, of course, a big tribute to the solar eclipse. And what do you know? Jason has gematria of 188 and 221, just like Bavarian Illuminati and the Bavarian Illuminati in English ordinal. Jason Aldean's real name is Jason Aldean Williams, and notice how he changed the spelling for some reason, even of his middle name, Aldean. That real name has some alignments with Masonry in 33. But look at his birth numerology of 108. That matches the ordinal gematria of Macon, Georgia, where he was born. This date also had numerology of 36, and it left 306 days left in the year. 3 sixes, 6 times 6 times 6 equals 216. That's the gematria of Macon, Georgia in the reverse order. And look at these other numbers from his birthday of 26, 44, and 89. All these numbers in the gematria of the word kill. Also, Macon, 26, reverse reduction, and 89 in the reverse ordinal. His origin is listed as Nashville, Tennessee. This has extended gematria of 1153, the 191st prime number, again like Society of Jesus. His birth numerology also contains this 107. This is the reverse reduction value of ritual sacrifice, which also sums to 125 and 154. Aldine equals 125 in the reverse order, and the town he's from, Macon, equals 154, English extended. Macon in Frake Baconis, also 91. Of course, it was the Route 91 festival, 91 days from the end of the year. When this concert occurred, he was 487 months old. That's the 93rd prime number. Remember, Saturn, summing to 93. So from one musician to another, we go from Jason Aldean and look at the death of Tom Petty, which is related to this event. Earlier, we looked at the geometric relationship between Saturn and harvest. Well, when capital letters are taken into account, using Francis Bacon, these both sum to 119. Tom Petty's initials, TEP, in that same cipher sum to 119, and in reduction, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers equals 119. And look at the date that they released their first album, 11/9. This was a leap year, so it was the 314th day of the year. November 9th, the date written 1109, summing to 1109 in Jewish gematria, and in English extended, it equals 969. The speed of Saturn listed at 9.69 kilometers per second. This album dropped on a date with full numerology of 115. This is the inverse of the gematria of Saturn, 511, circles also, 511 trigonal, Saturn representing the circles of time. And on this date, Tom Petty was exactly 9,511 days old. Petty has gematria of 171, just like his full name, 1710, English extended. Thomas Earl Petty in the Jewish order equals 186. These numbers are real significant to the occult as well due to their prime number relationships. The 171st prime is 1019. The 186th prime is 1109, both with these 119 sequences. Petty died in Santa Monica and was born in Florida. These both sum to 38. Gainesville, Florida equals 90 reduction. Santa Monica, California equals 90 reduction. When we write out the number 90, it's one of two numbers that sums to 33. Tom equals 33 in the reverse order, and Petty, using prime numbers, equals 303. 33 in prime numbers sums to 515. You may recall for a while they were reporting that 515 people were hurt in this attack. And they say that Petty died in Santa Monica, which has extended gematria of 515. But Santa Monica, California, and Thomas Earl Petty, with capital letters taken into account, both sum to 393. Another number I talk about in my introductory exhibition. That's a number that's related to Saturn and the eclipses. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers in English ordinal equals 317. This is the gematria of Saturn using prime numbers, 317. This is the 66th prime number, and Petty died at the age of 66. Remember, 33 when we write it out in reduction is 66. Jason Aldean and Stephen Paddock, both reverse reduction, 66. Revelation is the 66th book of the Bible, and what do you know? The 66th verse of that book is 317. Remember the 66th prime number, 317. Revelation and Petty both have matching gematria of 49, and he died on a date with full numerology of 49. Looking at Revelation 317, we find that it has English ordinal gematria of 1391. How about that? Remember, this is the square gematria of the word ritual, 91, the 13th triangular number. This verse also has single reduction value of 644. Not only is this number 322 times 2, but Scottish Rite has Jewish gematria of 644. Las Vegas, in extended gematria, 644. And the name of the shooter ties into this as well. Paddock, square gematria, 644. And think about the word paddock. What is the definition? It's a small field or enclosure where horses are kept or exercised. And there's a lot more to this horse theme of the attack, and in a second I'll explain why this is important to the gang. Last year, Kevin Bacon showed up on The Tonight Show and played this very strange parody of Free Fallin' by Tom Petty. In the song, he just kept repeating the line, "She loves horses," and then he changed the chorus to "Free horses." It was really irreverent, not really all that funny, didn't make a whole lot of sense. But as it turns out, this segment aired 1 year, 33 days before the Vegas shooting, or 13 months and 3 days. Again, that 133 sequence. Like the Kabbalah value of sacrifice. Including the end date, it's 399 days. Again, murder equals 399. See how this video has 206 dislikes? YouTube's numbers are all BS, and no doubt this is no coincidence. The length of this clip is 4 minutes, 11 seconds, 411, the satanic value of Freemason. But more importantly, 411 is 251 seconds, a number I continue to bring up. Ritual sacrifice equals 251, but Free Fallen also has this value in primes. Again, looking at the ancient Roman religion, we find there was an annual sacrifice of a horse, an event called the October Horse, which was done annually on October 15th. Keep in mind that October 15th on the Roman calendar equates to September 30th on the Gregorian calendar, the same day Yom Kippur ended here in 2017. October Horse has square gematria of 2211, the 66th triangular number. And why was The Tonight Show chosen for this song? Well, The Tonight Show equals 191 and 187, the exact same values of Society of Jesus. Jimmy Fallon, satanic gematria of 515, like 33 in primes. He also fits into the Revelation riddle. Jimmy Fallon has trigonal gematria of 1010. Kevin Bacon lines up with Free Falling, 174 gematria, like that number of the beast we keep talking about. Kevin Bacon also has matching geometric values with Jason Aldean, 42 and 96. Freemason summing to 42 and 96. The song Free Fallin' by Tom Petty. If we write out Tom Petty, Free Fallin', this equals 93 in reverse reduction, just like the planet Saturn. In Jewish gematria, it sums to 1037, and in primes, it's 713. These two numbers are both related to the eclipse. Total eclipse equals 137 English ordinal, and 713 English extended. In Hebrew, the word for Saturn has full gematria of 713, and in English, the words knowledge and wisdom, both summing to 713 as well. Tom Petty, Free Fallen equals 440. Frank Baconis, remember Stephen Paddock had this. But what I want to point out is that Paddock was in room 135 during the shooting. Thomas Petty and Thomas Earl Petty both have reverse gematria of 135. And he died in Santa Monica, California, reverse reduction, 135. Remember, they said 59 were dead in the attack. 59 equals 135, reverse alphabetical order. Thomas Earl Petty, using prime numbers, equals 661. This is the 121st prime number. This is a number for blood sacrifice, 121 English ordinal. Revelation equals 121 also, using the alphabetic order, and measuring from the date of the release of this song to the date of the shooting was exactly 10,201 days. Now 121 factors down to 11 squared, and on the date of the shooting, Tom Petty was 11 months, 11 days after his birthday. Notice the length of this track is 4 minutes, 14 seconds. Tom Petty, satanic gematria 414, lining up with the reverse Sumerian value of Saturn. 4 minutes and 14 seconds is 254 seconds. Remember, I started the presentation off talking about this number and how it relates to Saturn and time, also 9/11 being the 254th day of the year. Well, here's a look at Luxor, Las Vegas. This was the ultimate symbolism for the attack. You had the all-seeing eye atop the pyramid right across the street from the Las Vegas Village. Francis Bacon gematria, with capital letters taken into account, Luxor, Las Vegas equals 254. The Luxor in reverse ordinal equals 93, the number for Saturn, and it opened in the year 93. Also notice the date 1015, like 115, like Nevada and Las Vegas, Nevada. The Luxor also equals 39, and the address is 3900 South Las Vegas Boulevard. Measuring from the date that they opened on October 15th, 1993 to the date of the shooting is 8,753 days. This is the 1,092nd prime number, and I don't think this is a coincidence. Eclipse has Jewish gematria of 192. This building opened on a date with full numerology of 137, the 33rd prime. Remember, false flag and eclipse in Frank Baconis, both summing to 137. This also has numerology of 119. All-seeing eye, English ordinal 119. Las Vegas, Nevada, reverse reduction, all exceptions equaling 119. And even look at the zip code they gave this building, 89119. From the ground, the pyramid looks like a triangle. This is 86, just like pyramid, just like symbol. Las Vegas equals 86, ordinal. Mandalay Bay, where this shooter was firing from, owned by a Disney company, or at least a company that's closely affiliated with Disney. And even the last name Petty, of Tom Petty, who passed away the next day, summing to 86. To end this video, I want to take a look at Marilyn Manson. Well, I don't want to take a look at him, nobody does, but he plays into this as well. Remember, he's been used by the mainstream for anti-Trump propaganda. He had this video where he decapitates Trump and he's bleeding all over the place. Well, a couple days before the shooting, Manson had a concert in New York at Hammerstein Ballroom where he had 2 guns fall on him at a concert. The stage prop behind him, 2 large revolvers. At the time, he was playing a song called Sweet Dreams Are Made of This. That song came out on 6/22/1996, a date with 143 numerology, like Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. But if we measure from the date of this release to the date that he had these guns fall on him, you find it's 7,770 days. Another stamp of Masonic activity. This song was a cover of a Eurythmics single that was released in 1983. So this came out 156 months later, or 13 years. You know, Marilyn Manson, MM, 1313. And Sweet Dreams Are Made of This, in reduction and septenary, both 103, and in single reduction, 130. Alright everyone, that does it for this video. You see, Truth Seeker, we the people need to take this world back from these scumbags who run these false flag events in an attempt to scare the population into allowing its rights to be taken away. 2017 is not like 2001. A lot of people have woken up to the New World Order agenda, and their tactics no longer work on us. Our knowledge has evolved, and these psychos are no longer at an advantage. We understand their game, we know their code, and we are exposing them on the daily. Like, subscribe, and mirror this video, please, since YouTube might go ahead and take it down along with my channel. Check the links in the description for more, including a link to my Twitter page and my Gematrinator Discord, where you can join in on the discussion about numerology and talk about more ways to spread this knowledge. Thanks for watching. Speak up. Spread the knowledge. If you're just sitting on it but not doing anything with it, then you are no better than the piles of feces who are staging these events. God bless and have a wonderful day.